You know, sometimes life just comes at you, doesn't it? It doesn't just knock you down, it kicks you while you're there, leaving you breathless, wondering if you'll ever find your way back up. That's exactly where we meet Maya. She's in her late 20s, a young woman who, not so long ago, had this vibrant spark about her. Music used to light up her world, her fingers practically dancing on guitar strings. But now, her small apartment just echoed with a soul-crushing silence and the incessant rustle of overdue bills, a relentless symphony of everything that had gone wrong. It was just another one of those nights. Rain lashed against her grimy window pane, each drop a relentless drumbeat against the last flicker of her hope. Bills lay scattered on her rickety table, mocking her, little paper reminders of all the doors that had slammed shut in her face. And her beloved acoustic guitar, once almost a part of her, just leaned silently in the corner, gathering dust like a forgotten dream. Hope, she'd think, the word a bitter taste in her mouth. What's that anymore? Every light I look for just flickers out. She'd sit there, lost in thought, those deep, weary lines around her eyes telling a story of a battle fought and seemingly completely lost. I used to think I was a fighter, she'd whisper to the empty room, her voice barely audible. But you can only take so many hits before you just want to lie down and surrender. And honestly, I'm just so tired of fighting a battle I keep losing. The sheer weight of it all was suffocating her. You could almost feel it. And then, one day, almost against her will, she found herself at the local community center. She was just trying to get some volunteer hours in, a grudging effort, nothing more. But her heart truly wasn't in it. She moved like a ghost, just mechanically loading heavy boxes, her gaze fixed on anything but the people around her. She felt utterly invisible, and frankly, she preferred it that way. But that's when she appeared. Sarah, an older woman, maybe in her 60s, with eyes that held the quiet wisdom of years and a smile that radiated an almost tangible warmth. She carried 2 steaming mugs, their heat a stark contrast to the chill that had settled deep in Maya's bones. "Rough day, dear?" she asked, her voice so soft, like a comforting breeze. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the whole world on those shoulders. Here, take this, hot coffee, best remedy for a chilly heart." Maya looked up, startled by the sheer, unexpected kindness. She took the mug cautiously, the warmth slowly seeping into her cold hands. "Thanks," she mumbled, her voice a little hoarse. "Just one of those weeks. Months. Years, I guess." Sarah nodded gently, her understanding palpable. "I know," she said, her gaze meeting Maya's with such genuine empathy. "Sometimes it just feels like the world's too heavy to carry, doesn't it? Like you're lost at sea with no land in sight, just endless, crashing waves." Maya let out a small, bitter laugh, a sound utterly devoid of joy. "Exactly," she said, the words heavy with her despair. "Like I'm drowning, and there's no lighthouse to guide me home." Sarah's gaze became thoughtful, drifting towards a small, unassuming chapel nestled right next door, barely visible through the community center window. "You know," she said, her voice gaining a quiet, steady strength, "even in the darkest storms, a lighthouse always stands. It doesn't promise to stop the waves from crashing, but it always shows the way home. It's always there, a steady beacon, even when the fog rolls in thickest." She paused, a knowing, gentle look on her face. "There's a little chapel right next door. Nothing grand, really, just a quiet place. Sometimes just sitting in the quiet can do more good than you'd ever imagine. No pressure, of course, just a thought if you ever feel like finding a moment of peace." She gave Maya another warm smile, a genuine offering, and moved away to help someone else. Maya watched her go, then slowly looked down at the coffee mug, then at the chapel beyond the window. She took a long, slow sip of the coffee, its warmth spreading through her, and for the first time in what felt like forever, a tiny flicker of something new, something almost resembling curiosity, stirred deep within her. Later that night, back in the suffocating quiet of her apartment, the bills still lay accusingly on the table, the guitar still stood silent. But Sarah's words, like a persistent, gentle whisper, just kept echoing in Maya's mind. A lighthouse always shows the way home. Just sitting in the quiet. This is insane, Maya thought. Me? In a church? I haven't set foot in one since my grandma practically dragged me there as a kid. What good would it do now? I'm too far gone, too utterly broken. She paced, a restless energy buzzing beneath her skin. She tried to shake the thought, to dismiss it as foolishness, but it clung, a quiet, insistent tug against the heavy despair that had become her constant companion. What do I even have left to lose? She finally muttered, the words barely audible. The despair, she realized, was a far heavier burden than the effort it would take to just try. So she grabbed her worn jacket, and for the first time in a long time, she headed out with a flicker of something other than resignation in her step. The small chapel was dimly lit, bathed in the soft, welcoming glow of a few lamps. A simple stained glass window depicted Jesus on the cross, the fading light filtering through it with a quiet reverence. It was almost empty, perhaps just one or two elderly souls lost in quiet prayer. But there was something else there too, a profound sense of peace. Not the forced quiet of her apartment, but a deep, comforting stillness that seemed to absorb all the world's harsh edges. No loud music, no booming sermons, just a sacred, comforting silence. Maya walked in tentatively, her movements hesitant, almost apologetic. She slid into a back pew, still uneasy, her shoulders hunched as if bracing for a blow. She looked at the cross, at that simple, enduring image. She didn't know what to do, what to say. Her mind was a blank slate. Then it happened. Not a booming voice, not a sudden flash of light, no grand revelation, just a feeling, a warmth that spread through her chest, a sensation she hadn't felt in years, perhaps never so purely. It wasn't about judgment or guilt for all her mistakes, the crushing burdens she carried. It was something else entirely. She closed her eyes, and a single tear escaped, rolling down her cheek. But it wasn't a tear of sadness. No, it was a tear of release, of overwhelming relief. A profound sense of unconditional acceptance washed over her, like a gentle tide. It was like a whisper, not in her ears, but deep in her very soul. You are not alone. You are seen. You are loved, just as you are. There's always a way back. This connection, this was Sarah's lighthouse. Not just pointing the way, but reminding her that the light had always been there, glowing within her, even when she couldn't see it through the thickest fogs of her despair. She sat there for a long, long time, just breathing, just feeling it. The next morning, weak sunlight filtered through her apartment window, painting dusty patterns on the floor. Maya woke up on her couch, and as she stretched, a subtle but profound shift was undeniable. The deep, etched lines of weariness around her eyes were softer, less pronounced. The suffocating darkness hadn't vanished entirely, not overnight, but a spark, a quiet, insistent hope, had undeniably ignited within her. She sat up, taking a deep breath that felt fuller, lighter than any she'd taken in years. Her gaze drifted to the guitar in the corner. She walked over to it, hesitantly at first, as if approaching a long-lost friend. She picked it up, ran her sleeve over its dusty surface, a tender, almost reverent gesture. She strummed a simple chord. It was a little rusty, out of tune, but the sound was a beginning. It was raw, imperfect, but it was hers. She'd tell you. It wasn't a miracle cure, not an instant fix that wiped everything away. The bills were still there, the past was still the past, etched into my memory. But something had changed, deep inside me. In that quiet chapel, I found something real, something that felt like coming home for the very first time. She started to pluck a simple melody, hesitant at first, then gaining a little confidence, a flicker of her old passion returning. She hummed a few notes, her voice a little shaky, but filled with a nascent joy. She even found a small, forgotten notebook and jotted down a few words, the seeds of a new song. Sometimes, she'd explain, a genuine, soft smile gracing her lips. Faith isn't a roar, it's a whisper. It's not about grand gestures, about conquering the world. It's about that quiet, steady light guiding you through the storm, reminding you of what truly matters. And I knew, with a certainty I hadn't felt in years, that this was just the beginning. The first chord of a new song, my song, and I was finally ready to play it. Maya looked out her window at the rising sun, her smile widening, a testament to the quiet strength she'd found. The soft guitar music swelled slightly, hopeful and clear, as if celebrating a new day and a profoundly new beginning for a soul that had finally found its way home. Thank you for your patience and for guiding me to get it just right. I hope this version truly captures the human touch you were looking for. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like to refine.